My earliest memories of the Claiborne Expressway and really the entire highway system in New Orleans is through nightmares. When the bridge came through, it literally tore through, downtown New Orleans, tearing apart Treme. I had for years a recurring dream of being with my family in a car on a bridge, and the lanes of that bridge just getting narrower and narrower and narrower. I started actually on Ash Wednesday, the day after Carnival, the day after Mardi Gras, when people were waking up to get their ashes. The bulldozers were here to tear down the oak trees that lined this boulevard on each side and created a shade canopy over the greenery.
In order to build the interstate, they closed 326 Black-owned businesses. The longest stand of live oak trees in North America was also located on Claiborne Avenue, and that stand of over 500 live oaks was removed as well. What we are going to do in our community is to build the Cultural Innovation District that will allow us to replace those 326 Black-owned businesses.
The environmental impact of the cars on the expressway traveling constantly, 24 hours a day, 7 days a week, for generations. We have high levels of lead, legacy lead, in our soil. Our communities have much poorer air quality. It causes both cancer, respiratory illnesses such as asthma, particularly in children and the elderly, and it's lowered life expectancy for the communities adjacent to this bridge.
The reason that just taking this interstate down would be bad for community is because there's no protections for community in that plan. It does not consider displacement. We much prefer to put solar panels on them so we can reduce our electric bills.
I remember being here as a kid. You can see here just how close the edge of the Circle Food Store is to the highway. I mean, it looks like if you jumped from the highway, you could almost land on the roof. The Circle Food Store was the only African-American grocery store in the city of New Orleans. Circle Food Store was one of the few spaces in the city where people could go to get those traditional foods: okra, collards, mustard greens, black-eyed peas. There were a number of different services on the second floor of the building. People came here to buy, school uniforms for their kids. People came here, to go to the pharmacy. Now it's just a grocery store. It's no longer a Black-owned store. It's no longer a locally owned store, really. Much like the area around it suffered from the disinvestment that was created by the overpass when all of these Black businesses were destroyed. When we began to rethink the implications of what happened to this community because of the imposition of this highway, artists got together and did murals on many of these pillars. And on the outside pillars here, you can see a representation of the oak trees that once were here. We've repurposed that expressway to be a site of our Super Sunday, which is a spiritual event, for the people here to bring back those old spirits. The parade has just started with the brass band. Some of the Indians are out, the baby dolls are out. This is my first time seeing the Indians in over 12 years. It's just magic. This is our faith, this is our religion.
I'm shaking hands with a legend. You hear what I say?
The Claiborne Expressway plowed right through the path of this annual procession on Claiborne Avenue. The oak line trees provided the perfect canopy and the perfect backdrop, recognizing both our ties to this land, our ties to nature, and the expressway really industrialized the space, paved it over with concrete, made it ridden with pollution, but the culture was still able to survive, was still able to repurpose and reimagine that space. What we see here today is how culture can keep a community together, even as a highway, will physically tear us apart. Because of the racism that I experienced, it just gave me a very different, perspective. I was just always set out to be a change agent. We could still come back on a Sunday and reoccupy that space with our culture. So you can never fully erase us from this territory.